Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Dosek, and welcome to Trading the Close. A lot of action that went on today. Bitcoin's reaching all new time highs, pushing higher on the charts, confirming that breakout that occurred yesterday. We had the markets gap down a little bit, but then we had buying pressure throughout the day, leading us to a positive day in the markets, but there's a lot of red still out there. So let's jump straight into the action. Into the heat map we go. As you see here on the chart here, we've got all on the left-hand side, we've got a lot of green, but it's not much. Dow Jones up 0.22%, NASDAQ up 0.74%, S&P is flat up 0.03% right now going into the close. U.S. oil is under a little bit of pressure, down 0.72%. Gold is also down just slightly, down 0.68%, but then the highlight there for Bitcoin now pushing into the $110,000, $111,000 range. Look over on the right-hand side of the screen. You would think that we had a collapse in the markets, but wow, did the markets really make an attempt to save themselves today? One major standout, Google, that chart has been very strong. Microsoft has also been strong, but putting in a minor down day, and that's to be expected. That stock has moved up tremendously in the past week or two. All right, so let's jump into the spiders and take a look at price action. So just before I started the show, we are actually starting to move quite up nicely and have a decent close on the day, but right now it looks like we're subtracting all of those gains into the close. But mainly, I want you to pay attention to how price action broke above this parallel and has now since came down, tested this area, hasn't exactly hit it. It kissed it, and we had a nice bounce up today. Let's see if that bounce continues tomorrow. Now, remember, we're going into a holiday weekend. So Monday, the markets are closed. The likelihood we could see a float tomorrow is actually higher than not, as a lot of institutions will step away from the market, and then also having a higher market going into a holiday weekend with a lot of folks gathering would be great fuel for the fire for leading into the following week with more investors getting back into the market. Then also over the holidays, being able to spend money, feeling secure for themselves with the higher markets. All right, into the 10-minute on the S&P 500. You can see here today, we opened up right here on the charts. We gapped down just ever so slightly, went positive, then reversed those gains, and then continued moving up through the rest of the course of the day until, as I started the show, look at this sell come in towards the close. Very remarkable selling action going to the close. Down here at the bottom of the screen, you see the blue area. That's that parallel that I've highlighted. So we'll see if we actually tag this tomorrow and then get a better bounce up, or if we actually gap down underneath that parallel. A gap into the parallel would be bad news, as that will likely release more selling pressure for the downside. Into the Qs. The Qs you see here, we're starting to form a little bit more of a rounded top. All the while, this is still bullish consolidation. So we'll have this on watch. Now, should price action start getting down here closer to the gap fill, that would negate that bullish consolidation. And then we're going to be looking for support areas, which the first one that I see with a substantial amount of support is down here under $500 at $493.46. Into the SMH. Now, the SMH, this is a beautiful bull flag pattern. Now, yes, I highlighted yesterday, we closed underneath this trend line, but if you can imagine a flagpole with the flag hanging down on the side, this is what you would see. This is a beautiful bull flag pattern. We'll see if it matures tomorrow and also into next week, which would push price higher, breaking through this first resistance level and then potentially testing the 260.05 level. Into Bitcoin, the shining star of the day. Look at this. As of right now, Bitcoin closes at 8 o'clock Eastern, so keep that in mind. But it looks like we will confirm above yesterday's high, which is at $109,787. So watch to see if that happens tonight. If that does, that means Bitcoin's next target is going to be up here at the $116,000 range. There could be some decent resistance on this yellow inclining trend line. As you see, I've strung that from pivot to pivot, and then right here in the $114,500 range, right around there, there could be resistance, but the likelihood now is pointing towards Bitcoin rising higher. And we've got a lot of other altcoins to go through today in trading the close. Happy to bring that analysis to you, because usually when Bitcoin rises, the rest of the crypto field rises too. So we need to be prepared for potential levels that could be hit in the near term. On to the next chart we've got is gold. Now, gold, you see here, I've now put in a declining parallel. And I got this from one of the members in our live day trading room. Initially, I just had a declining trend line right here, but look how nice this parallel fits price action coming down from this most recent pivot high. We have price drop down, try to get above the 50% area and failed several different attempts, finally broke through. And then when it came down, it bounced right back up off that 50% area, then flushed down, then finally getting back above. So basically, long story short, gold is still hanging out right here. Resistance would be right up here at the top end of the parallel, likely if it hits tomorrow, right around $3,367. Support area will be this 50% area of the parallel on the way down. But ultimately, if this does continue falling, we could be reaching under $3,000, right around 2,953. And one reason I want to bring this up, I know this chart is strong. We've had higher lows all through the way. But again, topping tail on the daily, topping tail on the weekly, those are really hard to negate in such a short time frame. We likely should have a better correction on gold. But that also tells us another thing. If we do break above this topping tail area, that just shows how strong gold is, and gold still would have room to run. So keep that in mind. We get a lot of information from both sides. It doesn't really matter if these trend lines get broken or not, because it gives us more information. It gives us data that we can use to make our next trade. All right, so into silver we go. And you see silver here did a great job breaking above the last couple days from this declining trend line. We confirmed yesterday. Today we retested this trend line and have since bounced up. Perfect price action there for silver. I still like silver as long as it maintains above that trend line. We're going higher, likely to that 34.50 than 34.86. But I do have this area highlighted on my chart for a reason. 38.97 on the upside for a potential move on silver. In the U.S. oil still having trouble with this declining trend line. You see yesterday we poked above. Today we're falling back further below. So areas of support, we've already tagged right at $60.25. Should this area produce further downside, the most recent pivots right around 55.48, followed by 53.15 will be the targets. And the nat gas is looking like it's about to break this area of the trend line. We'll see, though, we've got a little bit longer trading that's going on, about an hour left in this day for nat gas. We'll see if we actually close right on this trend line, a little above it or below. We'll find out here in a little bit. But nat gas, as you see here, just this could be a test break of that trend line, and we could move right back on up. Upwards resistance, $3.87. U.S. oil, or pardon me, the 10-year yield. 10-year yield, this was part of the reason that we had some sort of rise and move up in the markets today. As I expressed yesterday, we do have a break of this inverse head and shoulders pattern on the 10-year yield, which could ultimately take us all the way up to 5.289. We did not confirm that break today. So this area could simply be test candles breaking above the 10-year. We'll watch tomorrow as well as on Monday to see what price action does right here around this trend line. If we do break above and confirm, or if we go back in underneath, which in case this would just simply be a test area. That doesn't mean this pattern's completely over. We can watch for further development down the road in case we do start trading on the higher end of this trend line underneath. All right, into some stocks that were really on fire today. Quantum computing, unbelievable move in this sector. We have one of those stocks right here, RGTI. You can see here on the chart, though, RGTI was putting in higher lows and moving up on the chart, and then right here put in a beautiful bull flag pattern, all showing the likelihood of a move higher was about to happen. First area of resistance was tagged today, and look how beautiful the pullback was from that. If I go into the 10-minute, you can see here that when we did pierce up at this $14.20 area, price action just poked up above ever so slightly. Then less than 20 minutes of being above, it also collapsed right back down, pulling down to 1356, 1357 before finishing the day at 1385. After hours, it is sliding ever so slightly down to 1376. Into another quantum stock. This is QBTS, D-Wave Quantum. Now, this has had an explosion of movement upward on the charts here that you see on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, reversed most of those intraday gains not the gap up, but the intraday gains that took place. But then today followed it back up with another surge, now breaking above this inclining trend line. Much like how we analyze trend lines, we have not confirmed above this trend line, and the trend line this steep has the likelihood to have price action fail. And if you can imagine, price action can fail here, then continue to hit the bottom end of this trend line, all the while making new all-time highs. But just keep that in mind. Right now, the likelihood for QBTS is to go down in the near term. We are overbought on the daily. We are overbought on the weekly. You can see here now poking up on 78.03 in the weekly time frame. But if I go back to the daily and say we do get up and establish ourselves above this trend line, next area of resistance is going to be all the way up here near the $26 to $27 range on QBTS. Interesting price movement. For support areas to buy, anybody missing out on this run, don't chase this. Wait for a pullback to occur. First support at 14.46, another one here down at $11.55. Into some crypto, with Bitcoin making all new time highs. We've seen a big lift in other altcoins too. This one here is Cardano, ADA USD. You can see here too, there's a couple great things about this chart that I want to show. All right, so one is this declining trend line. Notice how many times this trend line was hit. It was hit once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then the 5th time it broke through. If you recall, I spoke the other day on IWM, and let's just pull up that chart to give you an idea. Notice this trend line, it hit once, twice, 3rd time, rejected. So whenever you hit that trend line, the more often you hit it, just like in this chart clearly displays, the 5th time broke through the price, came back down, retested that trend line where it broke, and has since now bounced up. Now, keep in mind, too, there's other patterns going on this chart. We have an inverse head and shoulders pattern on Cardano. This leads the way for a move all the way up here to 98 cents on the chart. So I imagine right now the path of least resistance for Cardano is to continue moving higher. Now, if Bitcoin goes up to 116,000 and then starts pausing, consolidating around that area, we will have the rest of the altcoins start lifting up too. And this would have an opportunity to move up all the way up there to 98 cents, which implies an additional 21% move on this chart. Into Ethereum. Ethereum also has an awesome, fantastic retrace of this trend line here. You can see this inclining trend line, yellow trend line. It extends all the way back over here to the low pivot that was made in June of 2022. And so you could see price action broke above, confirmed above right here, and then now has since come back down, tagged this area of the trend line, which is support for the near term, and that should provide another bounce higher on this crypto. Now, we haven't really catapulted higher. We haven't had a good springboard bounce yet on Ethereum, so we'll see if that happens in the near future. If so, next resistance up here at $3,034, followed by $3,635. And if it breaks, this could be a great buy-in opportunity for anybody that has not picked up Ethereum. First support at 21.41, followed by 18.68 on the charts. Next up, we've got Hyperliquid, which is another cryptocurrency that saw a monumental move today on the charts. As you can see, breaking out of this already steep angle of trajectory and a huge move higher. This almost is reminding me of a blow off top scenario. And we have all-time highs on this cryptocurrency strung out from this horizontal trend line right at $35.37. Watch that area for major resistance coming in the near future. And if it happens to break through there, the next area of resistance is not that far away, located on this inclining yellow trend line right above the current all-time high. So we may have like a bull trap pull above the all-time highs, and then an immediate fall back down on Hyperliquid. But all the while, great move on that cryptocurrency. One more to go. We've got Avalanche, AVAX USD. Now, this also has an inverse head and shoulders pattern that has confirmed above the neckline. We did test the neckline, actually pierced it and came back beneath, but never confirmed down here. Understanding this confirmation signal, understanding a number of different technical points and trend lines that I pointed out for you guys really helps put the pieces of the puzzle together to understand the probabilities and likelihood of any cryptocurrency or stock. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as we can chart it, we can trade it. And that goes for crypto right here that we're analyzing. So jump back into Avalanche, and you can see here with this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here on the chart, we have a measured move potential up to $31.67. And if you go back in history on this chart, where is this level? That's also right near where support was, and then also where support was right here. So that makes sense. This area likely is going to be resistance once that measured move is tagged for Avalanche on the charts. All right, so that's a ton of info, guys. We touched a lot of the hot stocks with quantum today, as well as some of the cryptocurrencies. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. My name's Drew Dosek. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time, and that will be on Monday. Till then, have a great week, or actually on Tuesday. Forgot about that, Memorial Day. You guys have a fantastic holiday. Take care.